Now at 9, we still have some scattered showers and thunderstorms working through the region. We're going to give you all those details.
The Joplin Fire Department is looking to recruit more firefighters. I'm Chris Warner with what changes they've made to bring more recruits to the department.
Inflation is top of mind for voters ahead of the midterm elections. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with details and what the White House is saying coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan. I'll be scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the 4 states tonight. Meteorologist Doug Eddy joining us now. Doug.
Yeah, we've had the bands of showers and thunderstorms all day long. This has really helped us out because they didn't really kind of start laying off until 4 or 5 o'clock. So we just really couldn't heat up, and our warm front kind of stalled right across northeastern Oklahoma. So that meant everybody north of the warm front, just good old storms. And that's pretty much what we were seeing. Still tornado watch, northeastern Oklahoma, but I'm not worried about this. I expect this to be dropped pretty soon. Any severe weather is going to stay southern Delaware, Benton County, maybe clipping Berry County, and that should be just about it. Besides that, just good old showers and thunderstorms are rolling through. So we're going to look at this. We'll look at the rest of the week. We do have more severe weather chances all coming up here in a bit.
Doug, thank you as always. Pittsburgh has no community shelter, so the city is reminding residents about its policy for activating tornado sirens. The first step for the city's sirens to activate is a tornado warning that's issued by the National Weather Service. From there, the city must either be believed to be in imminent danger or in close proximity of storm where a tornado is spotted by trained weather spotters.
The City of Pittsburgh recommends following FEMA's recommendation guidelines for that situation, that you do not get out in the storm, do not get out in your vehicles or travel anywhere. Hunker in place in the building or home that you're in, go to the lowest ground level that you have, and go to the most center room that you have.
On the City of Pittsburgh's website, you can find a downloadable map of the siren locations in the city. Now is the time to be prepared for severe weather. In the event that you need to go to shelter yourself, the Director of Emergency Management in Joplin advises that you have a change of clothes on hand. Water, a weather radio, a charger, and a device that has local weather alerts. In Joplin, every public school has a FEMA shelter, and so does Missouri Southern.
The thing to remember is we average about 10 minutes between when a tornado is sighted and when one actually touches down. Usually that's not enough time to get to a shelter, so it's always best to try and shelter in place.
If you have to shelter at your home and you don't have a basement, just go to the lowest floor in a room with no windows. Well, authorities in Cuapa, Oklahoma arrest a suspect accused of shooting a man over the weekend. Saturday morning, police responded to a call of a shooting in the 400 block of South Chestnut in Cuapa. When officers arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound in his chest. He was taken to the hospital and survived. Authorities, though, later arrested 48-year-old Mark Doherty for the shooting. Doherty is charged with first-degree attempted murder and possession of illegal drugs. Well, the Joplin Fire Department is hiring, and they're changing what they're looking for in potential firefighter candidates. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with the department, and Chris says more.
Whether it's police officers or firefighters, Joplin Fire Captain Daniel Job says there's something about the people you work with.
And the fire service is a brotherhood, so the guys I work with, that's a big plus. You know, we're here together 24 hours a day, every third day.
Training Chief Dustin Luno says the department is changing its hiring practices to bring more firefighters in to join that brotherhood and serve the community.
We're going to look at each individual applicant as individuals themselves and look at their qualities and will they be a good fit for the Joplin Fire Department, and then we're going to train them while they're here.
Luno says that change also includes training new firefighters and paying them while they're in training.
Well, our hope is that we can, market ourselves to the community, to those individuals that are, they're looking for something different. They're not sure what they want to do. They know that there's something bigger than themselves. They know they want to be a part of that. And those are the individuals that we want to find.
Job says being a firefighter is more than just putting out fires.
Sometimes it's very small things that we do, but we helped somebody in a time where they didn't know who to call, and we were able to help them out. So it doesn't matter the size of the job, it's just being able to help somebody.
Not only will new hires help serve the community, they'll help make the fire department stronger.
Not only will they be helping out and filling the trucks, they'll take that burden off of our firefighters that are working the extra shifts to continue to provide that service for the citizens of Joplin.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Joplin City Council tonight saw a presentation based around a study on ways to improve hiring and retention for the police and fire departments. The plan recommends a few solutions. The first is additional staffing, also allowing more friendly schedules and increasing pay. Under the plan, each level of employee at both departments would see at least a 10% pay raise. To pay for the changes, though, the plan recommends an increase to property taxes. That property tax increase would need to be approved, by the way, by voters. The midterm elections are inching closer, and inflation is a top issue for many voters heading into November. New polling suggests higher prices at the gas pump and the grocery store will indeed be a problem for the Biden administration and Democrats as a whole. Fox's Madeline Rivera has these details now from D.C.
At the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend, a moment of laughter as host Trevor Noah poked fun at the higher cost of living.
Ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. You know, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
But for millions of Americans, inflation is no laughing matter.
I think he was just going along to get along and playing along. But look, that's not going to matter. When that clip is in an ad in October.
A new poll showing a whopping 94% of voters say they're upset or concerned by inflation, despite President Biden's attempts to bring down prices, especially at the pump.
I think you can all expect to hear more from the president in the coming months, and more from other Democrats as well, is the contrast of what his agenda represents, what he is going to do to lower costs to address inflation.
The average price of gas is now $4.19, up 7 cents since last Monday.
The story is really not only oil with Russia and Ukraine, but is there going to be enough refining capacity for the summer driving season?
Some Democrats calling for the U.S. to produce more oil.
It's a false choice to say that we can't, of course, have good long-term goals on climate, which I'm committed to, and also increase domestic production.
The Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates this week by a half percentage point, the sharpest rate hike since 2000. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
A bittersweet day for Ukrainian civilians, many of them who have been trapped for weeks inside a steel plant. President Zelensky saying at least 100 people have been evacuated. All the exact number, though, is unknown. Still, hundreds, maybe even thousands, remain in hiding. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins has more from Ukraine.
Tearful reunions as hundreds of Ukrainians arrived in Zaporizhia on Monday after being evacuated from the Azovstal steel plant in the besieged city of Mariupol.
It was a risk. It was a risk, but they wanted to get from Mariupol.
Hundreds of civilians and soldiers remain inside the plant, the last remaining stronghold of Ukrainian forces in the city. Dozens of elderly women and mothers with small children were able to flee, some recalling their horrific experience as they were holed up inside, bombs falling all around them.
We survived something that, God forbid, happens to anyone else. We need some long therapy, us and the children too.
As evacuees make their way out of Mariupol, the State Department is sending diplomats back into Ukraine, a move the acting ambassador says sends a strong message to Russia.
You failed. Ukraine is still standing, the government is still functioning, and we're going back to Lviv first and then Kyiv to help the government.
This comes as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the highest-ranking American official to visit Ukraine, wraps up meetings in Ukraine and Poland to discuss the U.S.'s commitment to the war-torn nation.
America stands with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine until victory is won.
As part of that commitment, President Biden will travel to Alabama Tuesday, where he'll visit a Lockheed Martin facility that manufactures Javelin anti-tank missiles. In Kyiv, Ukraine, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Ernest Hill served in the U.S. Army during World War II. He was killed in action, buried at the Sicily-Rome American Cemetery and Memorial in Italy. We are proud to thank and salute Private Ernest Hill. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, a pair of Frontenac High School wrestlers signing to continue their careers together in college. Going to have those details in sports.
Well, of course, we've had periods of showers and thunderstorms throughout the daytime hours today, and portions of the region has been under a tornado watch. Kansas has been dropped out pretty much. Oklahoma is going to be dropped out here soon. It's really only severe threat is going to be about over the next hour or two, and these are going to stay in our far southern counties. So thankfully, all we've really had are just some strong showers and thunderstorms. A couple little severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly to our south and to our west, but besides that, most of us look pretty good. You can see one little cell right on top of Chanute, and then a little cluster up near Iola, and then once we go over toward Nevada, down Interstate 49, cluster showers and thunderstorms, not too strong. They do pick up a little bit once you get into Newton County, into western parts of McDonald County, western Benton County, eastern half of Delaware County. So once this little band kind of shoots through, we won't have any severe threat, and I really don't think we have much of one at all. I would say Delaware, southern McDonald, Benton, southern Barry are really the only places that we're kind of keeping our eyes on over the next hour or so. Besides that, we got pretty lucky because our warm front lifted into our southern counties but never made it up into the metro area. So we have been on the cooler side of the front all day. Those showers, those thunderstorms all day long really kind of helped us out. So that lowered our severe weather chances as we got into the evening hours. All right, temperatures yesterday 70s for us today. We did creep into the 60s as that warm front got a little bit closer to us during the evening hours, and you can see most of us are still kind of holding into the mid 60s. We do have a cold front right back here that's going to slide in later on tonight, and that's going to cool us right back down as we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. But you can see we've had a southeasterly wind. We never went due out of the south, and then these storms just kind of messed it all up. So we're looking pretty good. All these storms are going to continue to race out of here over the rest of the overnight hours for us tonight. We do cool down, upper 40s to near 50 degrees. We have clouds in the morning hours. We get some afternoon sunshine, but kind of cool tomorrow. We only go to about 60 or 61. Starting at 48, 55 by noon. High temp at 61. Northerly winds at 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, clouds will start to increase again. Could get a few scattered thunderstorms in here by early Wednesday morning. Then we're going to get bands of showers and thunderstorms through the daytime hours on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be very similar to what we saw today. Kind of a loud day, very wet day. Not really looking at severe, looking at strong, but not really severe. We'll continue to get these bands through most of the day, so this will most likely give us a very low severe threat instead of a higher severe threat as we go into Wednesday evening. Then Wednesday night, we get into a little bit more of the juicier air mass. So we may get a severe threat back, especially after midnight. Now we're looking at 3:30 in the morning on Thursday. Here comes a band Thursday morning that could be strong to severe as well. So you can see we got a lot of rain in the forecast. Most of the rain tonight is off to our east, but a lot more rain to come as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. And we do need to watch that severe threat as well. Really, anytime in May when you have a thunderstorm, you need to watch for a severe threat. All right, 61 tomorrow, 67 Wednesday, 71 on Thursday. Clearing out, looking pretty good into the weekend. Severe threat returns next Monday and Tuesday.
Mother's Day looks good, huh?
So far, it looks pretty good. I mean, there's a few minor indications we may get a thunderstorm in here late, but overall, it looks pretty good.
Doug Heddy, see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. When severe weather strikes, you'll want to stay informed. You can do that by scanning this QR code with your phone. Just open the camera app. It's going to take you to the KOM News Now YouTube page, where our weather team is going to live stream during severe weather events to give you updated information. While you're there, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Doug Heddy, ring the bell is a YouTube thing, right?
It is a YouTube thing.
You ring the bell.
Kids know what it means.
Kids know what it means. I'm old. Coming up, going to visit an area east of Wichita.
Recovery efforts continue here in Kansas, days after a powerful tornado ripped through this community. I'm Mitty Hicks in Andover. I'll have the details coming up next.
4 states brace.
Cleanup underway in Andover, Kansas. A powerful tornado tearing through the community on Friday, leveling homes and buildings. Fox Weather's Mitty Hicks has more.
It sounded like a train had come through the building.
It's a tragic scene in Kansas. Homes knocked off their foundations and neighborhoods completely wiped out. An EF3 tornado leaving behind extensive damage in the Wichita suburb of Andover.
It went very, very dark. All I could hear was screaming, rubble flying everywhere.
The tornado barreled through Andover Friday evening, whipping up winds as high as 165 miles per hour. Some cars caught in its path now stand crushed in parking lots.
Oh my gosh.
A state of disaster emergency has been declared for the hardest hit regions, freeing up resources for response and recovery efforts. The conditions knocked out power to some 15,000 customers, but much of that has been restored. Residents grateful to be alive.
People talk about what it's like being they say you're grateful, this and that, or stuff, but you really, really don't understand until you're in the middle of it.
Meanwhile, hail, heavy rain, and tornadoes impacted other parts of the Midwest. The National Weather Service says at least 3 tornadoes touched down in the Chicago area on Saturday, snapping trees and damaging structures.
We just saw a lot of wind. We were looking out the window and then our TV was buzzing to get in the basement.
All the siding peeled off the side of the house and the tree across the street came down.
Emergency officials ask those who don't need to be in Andover to stay away at this time. In Andover, Kansas, Mitty Hicks, Fox Weather.
Right, still ahead, the science behind teens tuning out their parents. A new study suggests parents might want to know their baby's gender as soon as they can. Scientists in England say knowing this information ahead can help with a smoother pregnancy and may help even prevent risks. Those issues include fetal growth and preeclampsia, which is a potentially dangerous issue that can even be deadly for mothers. Researchers also say knowing the gender can help doctors ensure pregnant women are eating the proper foods that will ensure the best health for the baby. The thing about babies is they grow up, which leads us to this next story. Parents have long complained their teenage children, boy or girl, tend to ignore what they tell them and turn instead to their peers for advice and guidance. Well, now research indicates biology may be at the heart of this adolescent behavior. Fox News' Sharon Crowley taking a look.
Who do you listen to more, your friends or your parents?
More of in between, yeah.
Of course, I'm near my friends more, but I try to balance that all the time.
I like to listen to friends, but maybe parents are better.
If your teenager tunes you out, new research shows you can blame biology.
I think the biggest takeaway is for parents, don't take this personally.
Stanford University research scholar Dr. Percy Mystery co-authored a new study published in the Journal of Neuroscience. It looked at what happens to the brain as children age and become teenagers.
The reward that they were deriving initially from their mother's voice, it's not that that is diminishing, but now it's being surpassed by the reward that they get from these sort of normal voices. And we sort of hypothesize that that's a part of their sort of independence and maturation.
Moving from parents to peers, he says, is a normal part of growing up.
It's not that teenagers are sort of consciously trying to tune you out.
So what can you do if your teen is tuning you out? Well, Dr. Mystery reminds parents to find ways to stay connected, just like this father.
I make sure I know who my kids' friends are and I know who their parents are, and I make sure that I'm friends with them, and so that whoever my kids are hanging out with, we all share good values.
So the next time your teenager stops listening to what you say, take comfort in knowing their brain is just wired that way. Sharon Crowley, Fox News.
It's known as The Rock. It has nothing to do with wrestling. Okay, get that out of your mind. It is expected, though, to fetch up to $30 million. More on this unique diamond next. The largest white diamond ever to come to auction is going under the hammer at Christie's. The 228.31 carat. 228.31 carat pear-shaped diamond right there, known as The Rock. When you're that exquisite, I guess you can just be known as The Rock. It's a gemstone like no other. Mined and polished in South Africa over 2 decades ago, the stone has been in the possession of only 3 previous owners. It's now looking for a new home, and Christie's is expecting to sell it between $20 and $30 million. The rock is going to be auctioned off at Christie's in Geneva on May 11th. Talk about a good Mother's Day gift, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
A nationwide manhunt is underway for an escaped inmate as well as a corrections official from a prison in Alabama. I'm Steve Harrigan in Atlanta. That story ahead.
Kids at Stapleton Elementary in Joplin are learning about and showing how to make a difference. They collected 108 pounds of aluminum pop tabs or soda tabs, gave them to the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states. Those tabs are going to be turned into money to help the Ronald McDonald House.
Well, parents can stay when their kids are sick in the hospital, and when we gather up pop tabs, we give them to them so they can recycle them for money. So parents can stay at the hospital, well, at the Ronald McDonald House, so they don't have to pay.
Way to set an example, guys. Stapleton Elementary has collected those pop tabs for the Ronald McDonald House now for more than a decade. A leak of a major Supreme Court decision may see the court overturn abortion rights as we know it. A leaked majority opinion obtained tonight by Political says justices have voted to strike down Roe v. Wade. Now, it's important to note, of course, justices can still change their minds and decisions, and the court's holding won't be final until it's officially published. This, by the way, is the first draft decision in the court's modern history to be disclosed publicly while a case was still being pending, which experts say could lead to an erosion of trust among justices. The future of Greyhound racing is in question as another racetrack gets ready to close. Iowa Greyhound Park in Dubuque, Iowa, is going to close its doors at the end of the season this May. By the end of the year, there will only be 2 tracks left in the country. It's a major change from the sport's peak in the 1980s when there were more than 50 tracks across 19 states. Industry experts say it's a sad end for a once thriving sport. Animal rights groups, though, have long been fighting to have Greyhound racing shut down over animal welfare concerns. Industry experts say activist work has impacted the sport. Search is on for an escaped inmate and a corrections officer who officials say is behind the breakout. Casey Cole White and missing corrections officer Vicki Wright left a detention center in Alabama Friday, and officials say their whereabouts are not known at this time. Steve Harrigan reports.
Casey White, as you've heard me say over and over, is an extremely dangerous person, and we need to get him located and get him off the street.
Authorities in Alabama are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the capture of escaped inmate Casey White and missing corrections officer Vicki White. The two are not related. The pair was last seen Friday after the officer left a detention center in Lauderdale County, saying she was transporting the prisoner.
This case is now a major case for the United States Marshal Service, which helped to facilitate the reward for information, up to $10,000 for information leading to the location of either one of these particular suspects or subjects.
Authorities say the prison officer claimed she was not feeling well and was going to seek medical attention after transporting the inmate to a mental health evaluation, but no evaluation was scheduled that day. Vicki White's vehicle was found several hours later in a parking lot. Officials are now confident she played a role in the escape. Casey White had been jailed on capital murder charges.
We're in hopes that we'll get some much-needed breaks here in the next few hours, few days, that will help us locate them. Those of us who work with Vicki White and have worked with her for years, this is not the Vicki White we know.
An arrest warrant has also been issued for Vicki White. Officials say both are armed and dangerous. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
A little bit later, change of plan.
Health officials are warning not to count on herd immunity to bring infection levels down as the COVID outbreak grinds on. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
All right, scattered showers and thunderstorms for us all day long. Some of those have been strong. We've had a few low-grade severe storms kind of skirting around the region, but it looks like in general our tornado threat is gone. Most of the tornadic area was really across north central Oklahoma where it was supposed to be, and then kind of dipped down into northeastern Oklahoma. We had a few tornado warnings right around Tulsa. And then since that, everything is pretty good. I know we still have a sliver here of a tornado watch. That will drop. So we can pretty much say tornado watches are gone from this point on. We still have a couple clusters of storms that we're keeping our eyes on. One across Newton County, McDonald County, down through Benton County. And then these guys have flared up a little bit in our northern counties that are producing some very heavy amounts of rain, even a little bit of small hail and some gusty winds, upwards of 50-ish miles per hour, just below severe limits. North of Fort Scott, here's 69 Highway, and then these trail back towards Chanute. We can't rule out that a little bit this part of the storm becomes low-grade severe, but not very worried about it. All right, let's go south. Here's Newton County. Strong storm, picks up a little bit once you get down into McDonald County, eastern parts of McDonald County, and down through Benton County, southern parts of Delaware County. But again, all these are rolling east and will be out of the region here in about an hour or so. And then we're going to look pretty quiet as we go through the rest of the overnight hours tonight. All right, temps yesterday, lower 70s with the clouds and showers. Today we stuck into the 50s. Once that warm front got a little closer to us, we did pop into the 60s during the evening hours, and that's where most of us sit now. But we are going to cool back down a little bit later on tonight. You can see kind of easterly winds. They switch to southeast, and then eventually switching back toward the northwest behind a cold front that's going to race in for us later on tonight. So these storms, they're going to track out of here. Clouds stick around. We drop back upper 40s. Clouds in the morning, a little bit of sunshine by the time we head into the afternoon hours. Day planner is going to be starting at 48, 55 by noon. High temp of 61. Northerly winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, clouds start to increase once again. Here comes our next system. A few scattered thunderstorms late tomorrow night, and then really pick up as we go through the morning hours on Wednesday. Non-severe showers, thunderstorms, heavy amounts of rain on and off all day long. But as we get into the evening hours, these guys may be a little bit stronger as we get into the evening into early Thursday morning. And then we also got to watch for a severe threat as we go into Thursday morning as this band shifts through. So still a lot to watch as we go through the next few days. 61 tomorrow, 67 Wednesday, 71 on Thursday. Looking pretty good into Mother's Day weekend, but a severe threat returns next Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, it was chilly this morning. It really was.
It's been cold all day.
It has.
Yeah.
Doug, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Is it an overreach or a legitimate attempt to combat disinformation? The Department of Homeland Security's new disinformation czar is defending her work just as new questions arise about the role of Twitter under billionaire Elon Musk. Fox correspondent Doug Luzader has more on this from Washington.
The creation of this disinformation board really was something of a surprise, and it comes as the nation is embroiled in a debate over censorship.
Disinfo and we really should take note.
This is the nation's new disinformation czar, Nina Jankowicz, singing about her area of expertise last year, and she refers to herself as the Mary Poppins of disinformation. Well, just last week, the Department of Homeland Security announced her hiring, and the blowback has been swift.
This is Orwellian. This is a ministry of truth.
Critics say Jankowicz is a partisan who has a history of spreading false information herself about everything from face masks to Hunter Biden. And she has gone after free speech proponents, like billionaire Elon Musk, under fire from some Democrats over his looming acquisition of Twitter. And Musk called the board discomforting. And there are questions about the board's role and its authority.
There's no question, Brett, that we could have done a better job in communicating what it does.
The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, who ultimately oversees the board, defended it.
We address disinformation that presents a security threat to the homeland. Disinformation from Russia, from China, from Iran, from the cartels.
It's not something that's clearly unlawful. But how they describe this board raises serious constitutional questions.
DHS says American citizens will not be monitored. As for Jankowicz, in a Facebook statement, she defended herself, writing, "Apparently the people shouting about my alleged disrespect for American values while flagrantly denying me the same rights do not see the irony of their actions." And the bottom line here is that Jankowicz has the support of the White House, which has called her an expert in her field. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, going to hear from a pair of Frontenac High School wrestlers as they sign to continue their careers together in college. Plus, MIAA recognition for a pair of local college athletes. Jacob Leonard has that and more after this break.
4 states.
A pair of Frontenac High School wrestlers signed today to continue their careers in college. Dawson Lapping and Justice Compton signed today to stay teammates and wrestle at NEO. Now these two, no doubt two of the best in Southeast Kansas. Justice Compton won a regional title this year and is a 3-time state qualifier, placing at state twice. Lapping is a 2-time regional champ, 4-time state qualifier, and 3-time state placer. And both of these guys have over 100 wins in their high school careers, and they're both excited to get to continue to work together at NEO.
We've been practice partners since we were 9 years old. You know, we've gotten really close, obviously, throughout the years being in the wrestling room, so it's just going to make the experience a whole lot better and more fun being together.
I turned down a D1 scholarship to wrestle with him again. We've been wrestling with each other since we were 5 years old, so we've just created that bond, and it means a lot.
We have a couple local athletes earning Player of the Week honors this week from the MIAA. On the baseball side, Missouri Southern's Matt Miller is the MIAA Hitter of the Week. Miller had a monster week in 4 games against Drury and Missouri Western. He collected 11 hits, including 4 doubles and 2 home runs, hitting for a .647 average. And Miller drove in 12 runs in those 4 games, helping Southern go 3-1. On the softball side, Pittsburgh State's Paxton Hayes is the MIAA Hitter of the Week. She hit 500 in 4 games over the weekend, 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. Hayes helped the Gorillas go 3-1 against Central Oklahoma and Newman. For the season, Hayes hit 400 with 13 home runs and a team-high 46 RBIs. The Royals and Cardinals will play a pair of games in Kansas City over the next 2 days. First, though, the two teams meet today in St. Louis for a makeup game from a rainout in April. Kansas City trying to even the season series after dropping the first meeting last month. Bottom of the first, Paul Goldschmidt up for the Cards. Hammers one up and out to left, his second home run of the season. Royals in a 1-0 hole. Now that Royals offense didn't do anything today, but they did play some defense here. Michael Taylor out in center. Great grab to rob the home run. Check it out again. Had his foot on the wall and everything, taking the home run away. Game still 1-0. Now here's that Royals offense I was talking about in the 9th. Hunter Dozier swinging at some nonsense. That ends the game. Cardinals take this one this afternoon 1-0. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Some Broadway theaters are updating their COVID-19 policies when it comes to showing proof of vaccination. The Broadway League announcing that while all 41 Broadway theaters are extending mask requirements for at least the end of this month, as of Sunday, many are no longer checking theater goers' vaccination status. The league is encouraging patrons to check out those individual theater websites for additional information. In the last few months, several Broadway shows have had to cancel performances because of positive COVID-19 cases cropping up among cast members. Another surge could be just around the corner with 2 new COVID subvariants spreading quickly here in the U.S. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more from Atlanta.
The numbers keep going up. The U.S. now averaging more than 58,000 new COVID cases every day, a 97% increase from just a month ago. At least 43 states are reporting a surge in cases, largely driven by the Omicron BA2 subvariant. Now health officials are reporting 2 more subvariants, BA4 and BA5. They originated in South Africa before making their way here. And there is evidence they're evading antibodies from prior COVID infection, making herd immunity a big challenge.
You have immunity that wanes and a virus that, in fact, does not stay stable.
But that same study also showed fully vaccinated people are 5 times less likely to develop serious infections from the new variants. And keeping up with those booster shots is still the best way to stay out of the hospital. The potential new surge prompting some areas to change their risk alert levels, including New York City, which entered the medium risk category on Monday. The city's health commissioner writing, quote, "The coming weeks will be critical to slowing the spread of COVID-19 and getting back to a low risk level levels so we can more safely enjoy our spring.
I feel like a lot more people are feeling comfortable coming outside and going out more.
COVID is still going on, right? So we just don't care anymore.
Moderna says it's still working on its vaccine targeting Omicron and its subvariants. It says the shot should be ready by fall. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Going to check in with Master Chef Junior star Daphne Oz, introducing her new cookbook. Chef Daphne Oz helping the talented Master Chef Junior contestants Thursday nights on Fox. Now she's sharing her expertise with chefs at home with a new cookbook. And she's sharing one of her favorite recipes from it with us today. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
This dish is stunning. Daphne Oz is dishing out her favorite fun and healthy recipes in Eat Your Heart Out.
The book is 150 recipes free from gluten and free from refined sugar. So on those 5 days on, no gluten, no refined sugar. But the most important rule is to take the weekend off.
What would you say the difficulty level is with the recipes? Are they easy enough for those who do cook a lot and those who maybe don't?
A big part of this book for me, in fact, probably the most important piece, is food confidence. I want you to ultimately, through reading this book and trying the recipes, feel like you know how to feed yourself to feel good, which I think can feel overwhelming sometimes.
Don't forget that step. She works with many confident cooks on Fox's MasterChef Junior.
When you see 8 to 13-year-olds making their own pasta, deboning fish, nailing a flambe. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Every week you see them grow. It's such a positive and uplifting show in that way. And I have kids 8, 6, 4, and 2. We watch the show together.
And she showed us a go-to meal in her house, Mama's barbecue chicken, starting with tomato puree base.
And add some barbecue seasonings, garlic and onion powder, sweet paprika, chili powder, and then I like it a little bit spicy, so I add that chili flake in. You don't have to.
Other adds, apple cider vinegar, Dijon mustard, and date syrup. Then heat up on the sheet pan.
You want your pan nice and hot when you put the food down because it immediately starts the cooking process. It goes in the oven 40 minutes. Halfway through, you're going to flip the pieces of chicken over and give them a nice little brush with the additional barbecue sauce. The final 3 minutes, put the tray under the broiler. It will give you that gorgeous glistening crust of the barbecue sauce. You will be amazed and you will really dig in and hopefully eat your heart out.
You can almost taste it. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
There's some talented chefs if you ever watched that show. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with video of otters enjoying some water time at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.